All right, guys. So our third topic here is the kind of a conglomerate of topics. I'm going to rope these three together because they're all about some of the Disney Plus MCU shows. We had some information come out about She-Hulk, Moon Knight, and Secret Invasion. So I'm going to touch on these real quick, and then we'll kind of move from here. So the first one is Kevin Feige revealed the length of She-Hulk, and I don't know if this came out like. Oh, let me just read the quote. So it's about 6 hours of content, said Feige. Sometimes that'll be 6 episodes. Sometimes that'll be 9 episodes in the case of WandaVision. Sometimes that'll be 10 episodes. You basically have 10 half-hour episodes, which is what She-Hulk will be. And the weird thing about that is, okay, so sometimes there'll be 9. Okay, I guess I don't know. I guess that makes sense. And I was reading this wrong before, so that's my bad. I thought it was saying in the case of WandaVision for 10 episodes, and I was like, didn't they say it was 9 episodes already? I thought we just had that confirmed, so that makes sense. So we got that, which I mean, I don't know. I kind of just expected that to happen, just given the fact, kind of like he said, just because of WandaVision, I just kind of assumed, their future shows would probably follow suit with that. On top of that, let's go to the Secret Invasion one. Kevin Feige, in the same interview here, spoke about Secret Invasion and mentioned that it's not going to be as big as the Secret Invasion story in the comics, or even remotely close to even being as big as Endgame. So he went on to say, well, there were more characters in Secret Invasion comic series than there were in Endgame. So no, Feige said, it's not that, but it very much is a showcase for Sam Jackson and Ben Mendelsohn and tapping into the paranoia elements of the Secret Invasion comic series that was great with the twist and the turns that it took. So that's certainly our focus more than can we cram in more characters than Endgame like publishing did. So again, due to the fact that this was coming out on Disney Plus as opposed to being a feature film, because everyone thought like the next big thing they would do post Endgame would be Secret Invasion. Everyone just kind of assumed, especially once the Skrulls were introduced in Captain Marvel, everyone kind of assumed that that's the way they would go. And I guess they kind of are. But like most things, they are definitely making an adaptation of it, just like Civil War was not like the comic book Civil War, etc. The Infinity Gauntlet was not necessarily what Infinity War and Endgame were. When you look at the comics, I mean, the Death character wasn't even in Infinity War and Endgame, and that's plays a pretty big role in the comics. So, and then our last one, which in some ways might be the most surprising, given the I don't know, the actor attached to it, is that Ethan Hawke is set to join the Moon Knight series as the main villain, which I think is great. But there was literally, when I first heard this, I thought it was funny because it was not too long ago that Ethan Hawke mentioned. Here's his quote here, because he was kind of talking down about the whole superhero movie, comic book movie genre, and his quote from before was, "Now we have the problem that they tell us Logan is a great movie." Hawk said in 2018. Well, it's a great superhero movie. It still involves people in tights and metal coming out of their hands. It's not Bresson. It's not Bergman, but they talk about it like it is. So when I heard that he was coming in, of all people, into an MCU show or any sort of superhero show, kind of surprised me, because the first thing I thought of were his comments about, I mean, a Marvel property disconnect from the MCU in some ways, but he used a Marvel property as an example to kind of like, I mean, talk down on it in some ways. So I don't know. I thought it was kind of strange. Ethan Hawke's like a great actor though, so like I'm totally cool with him joining the Moon Knight series. No idea who he's going to be. He doesn't have, but this article even goes on to say that Moon Knight doesn't necessarily have like the biggest, most well-known rogues gallery by any means, so it's kind of up in the air on who he could even be. It could be like a whole newly written character. We'll just kind of have to wait and see, but he's joining Oscar Isaac there in the Moon Knight series. So, guys, let me kick it over to you. What do you guys have? You guys have anything you want to like add about anything you're excited for these three kind of Disney Plus show topics that we got here?
I just think it's hilarious that Ethan Hawke, who was in such classics as Assault on Precinct 13 and The Purge and
Right,
Getaway.
yeah.
I'm going through the list here. like the bar that he has set himself doesn't quite meet those other people either. And I think Logan far exceeds anything that he's done. So I don't know. That's that old school, like, Ethan Hawke's probably a nice guy. I don't know. but that's that old school Hollywood mentality. Just that, you know, like
it's like Scorsese.
when I was a kid and growing up, like, yeah, well, there's that, but it's just kind of a societal issue where like there's a generational gap where people are just like, yeah, comics are for kids, and no matter what you say, it's like that's the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
And anything that's even remotely associated with it gets just beaten down on because
Yeah, it's
it
a
can't
lesser
possibly.
than. Yeah.
Yeah, just because it happens to be in that, and that's not the case at all. It's a narrow-minded way of thinking, and so, you know, and then when you hear it come from people that have done like shows like, anyway, I'm going off on a tangent here on Ethan Hawke, and it was probably a dumb thing that he said that he probably regrets considering what he's, you know, that he's going to be in. But he is, I think he's a fine actor. You know, he's another fairly large name that Warner Brothers, geez, that Disney seems to be pulling in. You know, and I don't know, this wasn't part of it, but Ben Affleck was quoted, I believe, this week as saying like Kevin Feige is the best producer of all time or the best executive of all time when it comes to making movies. So maybe the opportunity to work with Kevin Feige was just too appealing for him. So anyway, I'm you know, I'm glad that they're keeping the quality of their actors fairly high, and I think that I'm really excited for Moon Knight. I think it's going to be a great series.
Oh yeah.
I think I'm excited for the She-Hulk thing. I mean, it's just going to be interesting to see the perspective of like a female Hulk, you know,
Yeah.
on the actual screen and how they do it. And have they had any like major casting for that or anything?
Tatiana Maslany, the girl who was in God, what was that show called? They were like clones of her. What was it, man?
I think I know what you're talking about, but
I don't remember what it was called. Let me see if it quotes it on here.
I think it's kind of hot, the idea of like a female Hulk.
Well, I mean, the cool thing with She-Hulk is that she's not a split personality like Hulk is.
She's just
like
She-Hulk.
she's just her as a Hulk. She's still a lawyer. She's
the big green lawyer.
Yeah, she's just a big green lawyer you don't want to mess with.
Yeah, I mean, we're on your side.
Orphan Black.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, so she's playing She-Hulk. So, and she's a great actress too. So I mean, she's definitely. I mean, one thing that I don't think anybody, not that anybody just inherently talks crap about Marvel or anything, because I mean, there's not much to really be disappointed about in my opinion. But one thing that they have consistently done has kind of knocked it out of the park with their casting.
Oh yeah,
I don't think anything has been miscast in anything.
Definitely
really.
agree on that.
Yeah, like some characters may not have played as good as some of them, like Dark Elf boy, God, Malekith is his name. Can't remember.
From Thor: The Dark World. Yeah.
Like that. Like the Dark Elves may not have been, I don't know, just written well, but the Doctor Who guy they got to play him, I can't remember his name. I love him as an actor. He was in God, I'm drawing a blank on everything right now. He was in that show on HBO with Jason Theroux. God, I forget what it was too. Man, I can't remember.
Was he Doctor Who?
Huh?
You said he was a Doctor Who actor?
Yeah, he was Doctor Who like 2 doctors ago. No, he's not the girl one. He's not David Tennant. He was the one before David Tennant.
Yeah.
Not Matt Smith. So maybe 4 ago. Because Matt Smith, I think, was after this guy, then David Tennant. Or no, dude, I don't watch Doctor Who. I just like all the actors. Like, funnily enough, they're all good actors. And even the girl was in a show with the girl who's currently Doctor Who was in a show called Broadchurch with David Tennant. And that show is awesome if you haven't seen it. It's just like a detective kind of mystery kind of show. But it's amazing. Great show. And then, dude, what was that show on HBO with like the thing where they just like people disappeared? Like, you don't remember that? Did you guys watch that? No, not The Happening. Like that was our boy Marky Mark. And
that was the movie.
Marky Mark,
yeah.
It was one of the Lost guys.
Justin Theroux and hold on. Let me look this up. I gotta look it up.
No, I know what you're talking about too. I think I watched the first episode and never got back to it.
I watched like the first 2 seasons of it, and then I never finished the third one. It was really just one of those shows that I know a lot of people had a very love-hate thing with it, and The only thing I didn't really like about it was, like, the thing just kinda jumped around a lot. Like, season 3 starts, if I'm remembering correctly, and it's just, like, out of, like the story just takes a huge turn, like, out of
Le-
nowhere.
Leftovers.
The Leftovers, yeah, that's it. There
Yep.
we go.
I never watched that.
I liked it for the first I liked the first 2 seasons of it, really. Like I said, the 3rd season just took, like, such a different turn. I don't know, I just couldn't get back into it for whatever reason.
Yeah, yeah.
It was very odd, but, love Justin Theroux, though. He's a good actor too. Um, but yeah, I'm, Rick, what else are you excited about She-Hulk? You got anything for Secret Invasion? What
I don't
you
really know
think?
enough about Secret Invasion to be like excited for it. I never like read the comics or anything like that, but I mean, it's weird that, you know, that does have such a big cast in the comics, but they're not doing it that way for the show. But I mean, I guess it really wouldn't make sense to do it that way.
I mean, there's the cast in the comics, there's characters they haven't even introduced in the MCU,
Yeah,
so it
which
makes
that could
sense that
be
they're not doing it,
Yeah, that
but
would be confusing to some people.
Secret Invasion in the comics was, I mean, anybody that reads comics, they do these. They every year they have a giant crossover where
Mhm.
there's like a main book, but it ties into all the books in the entire line. And Secret Invasion was their big crossover one year. So you know, for taking a story of that scale and then saying that they were making it into a TV show, I feel like they're going to be taking elements from it or the theme of it or the idea of it and playing with that, but not. It won't be the big epic, you know, Skrulls versus more MCU
Yeah.
heroes
Yeah.
that maybe they might build to something like that. They might build towards the next Avengers movie with elements
Mhm.
from it. But I don't think it's going to just be, you know, obviously it's not going to be just the straight up Marvel has to now, and there could be elements of it that end up working their way into future shows and movies. Like if they find out if, you know, Fury and I can't remember the Scroll character's name, but
Ben
if Ben
Mendelsohn, I can't
Mendelsohn,
remember his character,
yeah,
yeah.
if they find out that there are heroes that have been replaced and there's this element of uneasiness or there's lack of trust among the heroes, that could be an interesting thing to see play out in other characters' movies and
Oh
stuff
yeah.
that they reference from the show, and then they could all build to something. But yeah, I'm totally on board with it being smaller scale. You know that and just using it to build the universe more.
I think it could absolutely be, used to kind of set up what could be a big future one. You know, I mean, because you
Sure.
could introduce the whole concept of Secret Invasion in the Secret Invasion show, but have it just
Mhm.
be like, you know, Ben Mendelsohn and Sam Jackson characters. They first discover, like, I don't know, some just random world leader has been replaced by a scroll, right? And they
Yeah.
find that out. Then they start just pulling on that string and they start to see, you know, well, who else has been replaced by a scroll? And like it just
Yeah.
like a mystery kind of unfolds, and then that's kind of just set up now. So like you were saying, like later on down the road, it could start being Avengers characters and X-Men characters, and you know, if they wanted to go back to it, they can. You know, speaking of which, I'm excited now that they got everything back. I mean, we can actually. You think they're gonna have Super Skrull as the villain in Fantastic Four, since Skrulls are already here? Be-
I guess it
Because
could
it'd
make
be a
sense.
I
new thing
don't.
they could do.
I feel like if they're doing Fantastic Four, that they're going to do Doom. I mean, I
Since
just
they've
don't
had
see.
so many issues with Doom,
Yeah, but they've also
Yeah.
not
had, you
Marvel
know, all the
themselves, but
Fantastic Four movies.
yeah,
You've already
yeah.
had 3 Fantastic Four movies too, and they're
Every one
going
of
ahead and
them.
bringing them back. I just Fantastic Four and Doom are so. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, it goes
Mister
hand in hand.
Fantastic, Reed Richards and Victor Von Doom are, you know, they're intrinsically linked there. So I just can't see them doing the movie without having Doom being the villain. But I could be wrong. You know, maybe they'll keep him off the board for a little bit. Maybe they will.
Introduce him later on or something.
You know, actually now that I'm thinking, now that you mentioned it, that would be a cool way to do it. You could tie Super Scroll into it. You could bring him into the universe,
Well,
especially
Doom could
building
still
out
be
Secret
in it,
Invasion. Well, but you can
but
also
not
keep
the
Doom
main
off the
guy.
table. Think of the anticipation you would be building to
Oh yeah,
the
what if
next
that's the
Fantastic
post-credit
Four.
scene? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because one could argue too, Doctor Doom himself by himself is an Avengers level threat.
He could be a cosmic,
Yeah, so
yes,
like
definitely.
he
He
could
could be the
definitely be
next
the villain.
Thanos.
Yeah, like 100%. Like especially if
Yeah,
they actually stick to the whole like part witch power, you know what I mean, the supernatural part of him and the
Yeah.
Iron Man suit part of him, essentially, like, you know,
It's
they
a pretty deadly combination. I
dude,
mean,
yeah, he's not no one to be trifled with. Like,
trifled, yeah.
you wouldn't know that based on his other cinematic appearances, but
No.
like
In the comics,
in the
though.
actual comics, he's a big deal, and it'd be
Kind of
really
a big
cool
deal,
for
yeah.
him to be in it and like teased or something at the end. Or I just feel like since the Skrulls are existing right now, that it'd be a kind of easy way for them to have a fresh take on the Fantastic Four by not doing Doom and Silver Surfer and like because they're obviously going to do that at some point, but like it might be good for them to kind of like here's something you kind of know with the Skrulls, and here's our Fantastic Four. Like here you go.
Secret Invasion could actually lead to Secret War,
Yeah.
which obviously has a couple of different series in Marvel history and things to draw on from that. So I kind of wonder. I mean, they had a success with Infinity War. So if they did Secret War, you would kind of call back to a previously successful movie, at least in the minds of the general audience. So I wonder if maybe Secret Invasion doesn't set up something like that.
Dude, there's honestly so much cool stuff they could do now. Just with I don't know why I was just thinking about this, but it's because I was thinking about Fantastic Four, and then Super Skrull, then Secret Wars, and then my mind went to Galactus, like obviously at some point, and then how cool would it be if they actually did like a World War Hulk or something? You know,
Yeah.
like where he's like, oh, that would just be cool, man. We already got like Gladiator Hulk, but like
Yeah.
Hulk Herald of Galactus kind of thing, just come in and just man, that'd be fun. I mean, it'd be kind of a simple, like quick. I don't know if you could really do a whole movie out of it, but they did their own take on Ragnarok, and like it wasn't. It was they were able to confine it in one little movie and do Gladiator Hulk and stuff without doing, you know, the true like version of it. So I mean,
Sure.
make it work. It'd be kind of cool. I don't know if we really need it, but I would really like to see it. Kind of like we didn't really need like Logan or Old Man Logan, but I'm really glad we got it.
Yeah.
Like so. But anyways, guys, what do you think about all this? Are you excited for She-Hulk? Are you excited for Moon Knight or Secret Invasion? Which one are you looking forward to most? And does it surprise you that both Secret Invasion is not really going to be covering, you know, pretty much anything in the comics, really, for the most part? You can kind of guess just based on Kevin Feige's comments, and just with when you think about what actually happened in there, given you know the huge cast it does have. There's like really no way they could be pulling, you know, the majority of the elements from the comics. So what do you think about that? And then what do you think about our boy Ethan Hawke? Kind of, I don't know, maybe retracting his previous statements and coming in and actually being a part of the MCU in a comic book movie. You know, let us know what you think down in the comment section below.